So what if I told you that the real difference between a business that's thriving and one that's just failing could come down to a single, well-defined IT process? Yeah, it's not about having the flashiest new tech. It's about having a rock-solid blueprint. We're going to dive into the essential building blocks that can take an IT department from a frustrating cost center and turn it into a company's biggest strategic advantage.
Take a look at this number, 1.2 million euros. That's the potential cost of lost productivity in just 1 year when IT services fail. And look, this isn't just about a server going down for an hour. It's a chain reaction, right? Missed deadlines, frustrated customers, it ripples through the entire organization. The stakes for getting this blueprint right are, well, they're massive.
So here's our game plan. We're going to go on a journey from the total chaos of an unstructured IT department to the calm control of a well-oiled machine. We'll start by explaining the 3 foundational pillars. Then we'll see how to assign clear responsibilities, map out the entire life of a service, and finally discover how all of this elevates IT into a true value creator for the business.
I want you to imagine the difference between a frantic panic scramble and a perfectly choreographed dance. You know, an unstructured IT department is always in that scramble mode, constantly reacting, always fight or fighting. But a structured one? That's the dance. Every move is planned, it's practiced, and it's executed with precision. And the result? Valuable, reliable services the business can actually depend on. Now, the framework that teaches us the steps to this dance is called service management. The best way to think about it is like this. You've got flour. By itself, it's just a resource, right? But when you apply a process, a recipe, you transform that flour into something valuable, a cake. Service management is the recipe book that turns IT's raw resources into real business success. Okay, so if service management is our recipe for success, what are the key ingredients? Well, it all comes down to 3 foundational pillars: functions, processes, and roles. People mix these up all the time, but trust me, getting them right is the absolute key to building a structure that actually works.
First up, we've got a function. The easiest way to think about this is just as a team or a department. In a hospital, you've got the ER, you've got the surgery department, the pharmacy. Each is a self-contained unit with very specific skills. In IT, your service desk or your network team, those are functions. They are the who, the organized teams of experts.
All right, next up, a process. Now, a process isn't a team. It's the repeatable workflow they follow. Imagine an assembly line in a factory. Every single step is clearly defined, it's measurable, and it's designed to turn raw materials into a finished product, every time. That's a process. It's the how things get done, and it's what ensures consistency and quality. And finally, that brings us to the role. So if a function is the team, and a process is the workflow, a role is the specific part each person plays. It defines exactly what they're responsible for, what decisions they're allowed to make, and what they need to get done.
This is where it all really clicks into place. You can have a change management team. That's the function, the group of people. But they execute the change management process. That's the structured set of actions. This right here shows the difference perfectly. The function is all about who does the work, and the process is all about how that work gets done. They are not the same thing.
So let's meet a few of the key players you'll find in this world. The service owner, for example, is accountable for an entire service, like email, from beginning to end. But the process owner is accountable for a single workflow, like incident management, making sure that specific process runs smoothly across the board. This clear division of ownership is what stops things from falling through the cracks.
Okay, so we have our teams, we have our workflows, and we have our key players. But how do we actually connect them to the day-to-day tasks without creating a ton of confusion? Remember that chaos we talked about in the beginning? Well, this is the simple, incredibly powerful tool that brings order and clarity to all of it.
You've been there, right? You're in a meeting, everyone agrees on a great idea, but a week later, nothing has happened. It's the classic sign of a broken process, and it happens for one simple reason. No one person was made clearly and singularly accountable for the outcome. The solution is a RACI chart. It's a simple 4-letter acronym that brings ultimate clarity. R is for responsible. These are the people actually doing the work, hands-on keyboard. A is for accountable. Now this is the critical one. There can only be one person who is accountable, who owns the success or failure of the task. C is for consulted, and I is for informed. These are the 4 keys to unlocking real accountability.
And here it is in action. Let's say we're approving a change request. The change manager is accountable, the buck stops with them. The developer is responsible for actually preparing the request. The service owner is consulted for their expert opinion, and the project manager is simply kept informed of the progress. See? It's crystal clear. No finger pointing, no "I thought you were doing that," just results.
Okay, so now that we've seen how to assign clear roles for individual tasks, let's zoom out. Let's pull the camera way back and see how this all fits into the big picture. The entire end-to-end journey that every single IT service takes, from a simple idea to a fully functioning part of the business.
This journey is called the ITIL Service Lifecycle. The best way to visualize it is like growing a tree. It starts as a tiny seed of an idea in the strategy phase. It gets its blueprint in design. In transition, we carefully plant and nurture it as we build and deploy. In operation, it's a mature tree, bearing fruit and providing value. And through continual improvement, we're always pruning and strengthening it to make sure it keeps thriving.
So why do all this? Why go to the trouble of implementing this whole structured life cycle? Because the ultimate goal isn't just to be more organized. It's to fundamentally transform the role of IT from being a necessary expense into becoming the very engine that drives the business forward. This quote from the source material really just nails the entire point. I want you to just imagine for a second what it would be like to work at a company where IT isn't a roadblock, but a strategic partner that actively helps you win. That's the promised land of great service management.
And that's exactly what a strategic asset is, a source of durable, competitive advantage. I mean, think about companies like Netflix or Amazon. Their technology isn't just supporting the business, their technology is the business advantage. By mastering service management, any IT department can stop being seen as just a cost and start being seen as a value-creating powerhouse.
And that brings us to the final critical question you have to ask yourself. This blueprint of functions, processes, and roles, it provides the path, but you have to actually walk it. So take a good, hard look at your own organization. Is your IT department building the future, or is it just keeping the lights on?